Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Today, inshallah Rahman, we will discuss about voice. First of all, I will tell you that what is voice. Voice is that form of a verb which shows whether what is denoted by the subject. Subject means the thing, the person, or animal we talk about. Does something or has something done to the subject. Done to it. That's called voice. Here, my dear students, I will give an example. Ram helps. Sorry, H here helps Harry. This is subject, this is verb, this is object. Here, my dear students, the form of verb shows that the subject does something. ये कुछ काम कर रहा है. Okay, I will give you another example. Harry is helped by Ram. This is subject, this is verb, and this is object. Here, my dear students, the verb shows that something is done to the subject. So there are two cases here. Subject does something or something is done to the subject. Subject does something or something is done to the subject. These two instances, first and second. Dear students, on this very basis, the voice is divided into two types: active voice and passive voice. Now, first of all, I will tell you that what is active voice, and then I will tell you what's passive voice. Look here, my dear students. Active voice. A verb is in active voice when its form shows that a person or thing denoted by the subject does something. जैसे कि मैंने example में आपको बोला, when I told you the example, Ram helps Harry. So the subject does something. That's why the verb is said to be in active voice. The active voice is so called because the person or the subject acts. That's why it's called active voice. यहाँ पे same example मैंने लिखी है. Ram helps Harry. This is subject, this is verb, this is object. Here the verb shows that subject does something, Ram does something. That's why this is called active voice, because the subject acts. Okay, now let's move towards passive voice. Dear students, a verb is in passive voice when its form shows that something is done to the person or thing denoted by the subject. जैसे कि आपको मैंने example दी, Harry is helped by Ram. Here the verb helped shows that something is done to the subject Harry. That is called a passive voice. Dear students, the passive voice is so called because the person or the thing or the subject is not active, it is passive, or in other words, it receives or suffers the action. Okay, now let's move towards this. Here, active voice, Ram helps Harry. Passive voice, Harry is helped by Ram. Why is it active voice? Because here the verb subject shows that this verb shows that the subject does something. ये कुछ काम कर रहा है. That's why it's called active voice. Here the verb is helped shows that something is done to the subject. Subject पे काम किया जा रहा है, or it receives the action. It receives the action. That's why it is called this verb is called in passive voice. Okay, dear students, it will be noticed that the verb is changed from the active voice to the passive voice. यहाँ पे the verb changes from active voice to passive voice. Okay, another यहाँ पे जो active voice में subject था, it became object here, and यहाँ पे जो subject था, it became object here. The position of subject and object interchanged. Okay, but you should remember that the object of the transitive verb here, the main important point, transitive verb in the active voice becomes the subject of verb in the passive voice. यहाँ पे the subject becomes the the object, Harry, the object becomes the subject in the passive voice. यहाँ पे जो object था, यहाँ पे subject बन गया, and subject became the object in the passive voice in transitive verb. But यहाँ पे I will tell you an important thing, that what is a transitive verb and what is an intransitive verb. You should know this important thing. ठीक है? Look here, my dear students. यहाँ पे देखिए बेटा, यहाँ पे मैंने नोट किया है. Transitive verb. A transitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which passes over from the doer or subject to an object. In simple words, when the action passes from subject to the object, that is called a transitive verb. Okay. The boy kicks the football. Here, this is subject, this is verb, this is object. And the action passes from subject to an object. That's why this is called transitive verb. So when an action passes from subject to an object, that's called a transitive verb. Okay. Now intransitive verb. An intransitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which does not pass over to an object or which expresses a state or being. So if we talk about the intransitive verb, here action stops. It does not pass from subject to the object. Look here, my dear students. Subject, this is verb, and there is no object. So the action stops here, and so in simple words, an intransitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which does not pass over to an object. So in intransitive verb, action does not pass over to an object, or it stops, or it expresses a state or being. Hope you have understood this important point. So you should remember what is the difference between transitive and intransitive verb. Transitive verb, here a transitive verb is a verb which denotes an action passes over from the subject to an object, and here the action stops and it does not pass from subject to an object. Thank you, students. This was all about today. Inshallah Rahman. Tomorrow we will discuss about the rules, how we can change, active voice into passive voice, how we can convert active voice into passive voice. Thank you, dear students.